everybody. Welcome back to Just Keep Parenting. Thanks for joining us. It's been a busy week here at the lab school. Been a busy 2 weeks, and I'm a little bit late on posting, but I wanted to come back and visit with you today on something that we find kind of difficult, right? Because the mantra that we normally use, do as I say, not as I do. And one of the things that Becky talks about in her book, right, is that we need to discipline ourselves and then work on our children next. And she tells the story of Gandhi, where the woman who wanted her son to stop eating sugar, walked 3 days with her son to have Gandhi say, bring him back in a week. And she's like, really? We just walked 3 days. And so she brought him back in 3 days, and he just said, you need to stop eating sugar. And she questioned Gandhi, and she said, why couldn't you have told him that then? And he said, because I was still eating sugar. And I didn't feel like I could ask him to do something that I wasn't doing myself, right? And it just reminds us that there's a need to saturate our children with direct images of correct behavior, right? And when I read that, I thought, saturate our children with direct images of correct behavior, right? Because sometimes we, tell them I'm not home. Yeah, tell them I'm not home, right? And so what is that teaching our children, right? Do they ever hear our upsetness at a traffic jam, right? Gosh, how come these people aren't going, right? Rudeness to service people, right? As they've gotten our order wrong at the Chick-fil-A. Do they hear us lie on the phone to our friends or verbally attack somebody that we love? Right? And so as we think about all of those things that we do in front of children, we're modeling behavior for them. And so one of the things that we need to do is we need to correct that so that when they are encountered with that experience, that they know how to handle it, right? If the children watch us throw fits when life doesn't go our way, then they're going to throw fits. And so I love the concept of, can we discipline ourselves first before we work on our children? And disciplining with love, my friends, is a journey, right? Learning how to do that is a journey, because it involves letting go of old habits and willing to risk a different view. I'm taking a class called Emotional Resiliency right now, and we're talking about old habits, right? We're talking about emotional resiliency is all over us, right? It's all over our whole self. It's talking about our mind. It's talking about our body. It's talking about thinking patterns, right? What are the thinking patterns that we talk to ourselves with, right? And are they positive thinking patterns or are they negative thinking patterns? And so this whole thing is a journey. Just because I may have been in the classroom for 30 years, I still don't have all the answers, right, for that. And so I love the fact that we're learning as we go. So as we start down this path, right, of learning to discipline with love, we need to become aware, right, and assess effectiveness of our approaches honestly, right? Sometimes like, oh, well, maybe I'll just put down that I had 24 ounces because I'm sure part of that drink is, even though it's a 32-ounce drink, there's a lot of ice in there, so I'm sure I'm only getting 24 ounces, right? That's a bit of a stretch, but that's what I'm doing today. But as we diligently practice these skills, right, and forgive ourselves when we fail, we are not going to succeed every time, right? Just like the children don't, right? And celebrate our successes. I did eat 5 fruits and vegetables today, right? I'm going back to my emotional resiliency class and my goals there, right? Celebrating those moments, celebrating the fact that I am keeping a grateful journal. Well, I didn't do so good on my stretching today, right? That's all right. We're going to start again tomorrow, right? Every day is a new dawn. And so this week we were talking about teacher identity with our pre-service teachers. And one of them talked about how when she was at a center with the children, she recognized that this theorist, right, Erickson, had everything to do with what she was doing. And she hadn't really ever thought about Erickson having a place in her teacher identity. So as we were visiting last week, she's like, no, she said, this has got to be a part of my teacher identity. And I loved hearing that from her because she had a paper that she had drawn out what was important to her as a teacher, who her identity is. But in 1 week with children, she recognized that she needed to have an addition to that teacher identity. And that's kind of what we're doing as parents, right? As caregivers of children, is we're working out this identity, this parent identity, right? This caregiver identity. What do we believe in? What's most important to us? What are our core values? What are our core beliefs? And are we parenting to those core values and core beliefs, right? Recognizing, I remember when I was teaching a parenting class once, somebody said, you know what, I'm a pretty good authoritative parent, right? We have the 3 types of parenting: permissive, authoritarian, and authoritative. And that's the quadrant we want to hang out mostly in. But I love this student that was taking the class. She said, when I'm sick, I'm all about permissive parenting. And I just laughed with her and I said, good for you. She said, they can eat what they want to eat. They can watch what they want to watch because I don't feel good, right? She said, as soon as I'm feeling better, I'm back on the parenting wagon again. And so giving yourself that time to be human, right? Be a human parent, not just a robot parent, right? So this journey that we, discipline with love, it can take us from being controlled by others to using self-control, right? And from shaming our children to teaching our children. So we can move from perfectionism, right, to acceptance, and from resentment to forgiveness as we learn how to parent, as we learn how to caregive with love. So our personal journey will move from fear to love, right? But our journey starts with setting limits, right? With what we're doing, with how the children are treating us, with how we're letting them treat us. We need to start to be assertive, right? And using that power of attention that we've talked about in recent videos to focus on what we want our children to do, right? And we want them to do, hopefully, the things that we're doing. And so I love this full circle. We've got to focus on ourselves first before we can focus on our children. Because if we are direct images, right, of incorrect behavior, then that's what our children are seeing. That's what's being modeled for them, and that's what they're going to do. So it really does cause us to think inwardly about our approaches with others and about our approaches with our children. So this week, that's our goal, right? It's just to kind of think about it, right? And if you need to do a little rewind in front of your kids, I love it when the children say, rewind, Miss Dory, or, oh, I need to rewind, right? Because they recognize that mistakes are part of our learning. Mistakes are a part of why we're here. So as we rewind and we try that again, we can help teach our children amazing life skill. So rewind this week. Take efforts to see what you're doing, see how you're doing it, rewind if you need to, and try it again. Anyway, share and share alike. Love to have you leave a comment about any questions you might have, and we'll see you again on the flip side. Thanks for joining us today.